The forest canopy provides just enough shade from the midday sun as we hike through the forest in Juneau County, Wisconsin. Our guide today is former Ho-Chunk Nation President Cloris Lowe, an amateur archaeologist who is leading us to a most remarkable place.
We're at a site today that is very special to me personally and to my family, and obviously to many other people within the nation. This particular site is located on the edge of the driftless area in Wisconsin. The driftless area covers actually 4 states, primarily Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, and northwestern Illinois. This site here really doesn't have a name, but I call this the Thunderbird panel. While it doesn't exclusively have Thunderbirds on it, most of the images here that were made by the people that came before us, our ancestors, are images of sky-clan birds. And it's amazing that they have survived as long as they have, given the fact that this is on the edge of the driftless. It is known by some people, non-native people, but for the most part today, it remains anonymous on the landscape, which has, I think, helped a lot of it most recently over the last 40 or 50 years. I first came to this area almost 60 years ago, 58 years ago was the first time I saw this panel when I was a young boy. I was brought out here by my father, and he said, "You need to see this because this is important, and it'll become more important as you learn more through the course of your life." What we have on here are many different Thunderbirds. This is a place that in this entire system of cliffs and valleys, this is the only area that really shows birds that have been carved into the rock and the rock faces here.
Petroglyphs or rock art can be found all throughout Indian country. Whoever etched the Thunderbirds and other markings into the soft sandstone of the bluff is a complete mystery. An even bigger mystery is, what do they mean?
Petroglyphs, rock art like this, is very hard, if not almost impossible to date, with a few rare exceptions. These are at least 1,000 years old, and they may be thousands of years old. As I take a look at rock art like this, I take a look at what potentially were the stories that were being left by the people that created this. This wasn't all created at one time. It's always wonderful to be able to sit back and look at sites like this and try to internalize what may have come here before us. But to understand that we're taking a look at the work of our ancestors, of the people here that preceded us, and that it's still visible today, and that it's a story that they're, I believe, trying to transmit. What that story is specifically, I don't know, but I do know when I take a look at all of the Thunderbirds that are on here, all of the Sky Clan images that are here, these are the people that were here. Well, as a member of the Sky Clan, when I take a look at this, in our oral history, and we talk about our creation and the creation stories that we have, they're not just stories and they're not myths. It's something that we believe in. Back at one point in time, the Thunderbirds hunted men. They hunted Ho-Chunks. They were to be feared. But there was a point in time where one man was protected by a Thunderbird. And his name was Redhorn in our history, in our oral history. But it's the story of Redhorn and how the Thunderbird came down to protect him from the other Thunderbirds and from the other dangers in his life. And it's at that point, in my understanding, that we as Ho-Chunk people came not to fear the Thunderbirds, but rather to respect them because they were our protectors. When I see these, I understand when there's huge storms and there's lightning. My grandmother always said to me, don't be afraid of that. This is when you are at your strongest. It's the lightning from the Thunderbird that's coming down that gives us energy in the earth, that gives us power.
There are other markings and graffiti on the wall face, plus leftover plaster from state archaeologists who have surveyed the site throughout the years. But this only further illustrates the importance of preserving sites such as the Thunderbird panel.
There's a couple of other images here in this rock art that you will see that look like geometric patterns. These are the same images that I see that are 1,500 miles away in deep canyons of the Southwest. There's a rectangle up there. Why is that there? And why is it in Arizona and New Mexico and Utah and Colorado identical? It forces me at least to understand that there was a lot of shared knowledge throughout what we now call the United States. One of the things you'll see when you look at this rock art panel here, aside from the petroglyphs that are here, you'll see a tremendous amount of graffiti. It's something that when I take a look at it, I get a hollow pit in my stomach. It makes me feel bad. What protects a great many of these sites is that their locations are not shared to the general public. I think sacred is a word that's perhaps overused a lot today, but I would consider this to be in many ways a sacred site because of our people that are here. All Native peoples, our ancestors, the people that preceded us here to this world, as we see it today, they were here and they left this for us. And I think it's good for us to think about that and then to internalize that. And maybe that's the message that they're leaving, is this is important. This is a part of who you are. This is a part of who we are as a people. We were here at one time, and we know people will follow us into the future. And we're leaving this for you to contemplate, to work with, and to understand what's important in life.